Hi, I'm Jazmine. This is my story. I grew up in the church with my family. My dad was a pastor. When you grow up in a Christian home, yes, we find God and yes, we trust God. And at least for me, I never really found him on my own. And I think that was a big thing for me, is that I believed what people told me to believe. My family, we ended up moving to Florida. My dad was sick, and the church that we were a part of kind of let him go. So we were kind of at the lowest of the lows, if that makes sense to anybody. At about age 21, I met my daughter's father, and it was only about 3 weeks into our relationship that we ended up getting pregnant with my daughter, who is now 7. 9 months later, I had my little girl, and then suddenly my family decided they wanted to move back to Maryland. So we moved back to Maryland, and my daughter's father did move with us. That was hard for him, and it was hard for me. I'm back in Maryland with a 2-month-old, 3-month-old daughter, and God was basically nowhere in my life. I don't think any of my family at that point was attending a church. I think we'd all been really hurt by what had happened at our previous church, and that it was really hard for us to reconnect. So I started at a job, and I fell in with a crowd there that didn't follow Jesus at all. The person I became was someone that I looked at when I was younger and said, how could they get to that point in their life? And I was now that person. I want to say well into my 20s that I finally decided to come back to church and just see how it was. And I did for a couple of weeks, and it was fine, and I just wasn't connecting still for some reason. I don't know why. Eventually, we had a family get together at my house. My sister and my mother were sharing songs that they had heard at Lifehouse, things that they were singing. Me having such a connection with music, and just that's how my soul feels. That, like, when they were showing me these songs, I was just like, wow, man, like, those are really good songs. On my way to work, I would turn these songs on and just play them on repeat over and over and over again. And the words finally started to just keep going in my head and really push me. I don't know that I connected immediately, but I was willing to try to connect. There was some kind of something missing inside. I mean, I was battling that every day. It was an everyday struggle to not connect with God. It was just my choice not to do it. But I kept coming to Lifehouse. I kept coming, and eventually it was a every week thing, and I was here every week, and I heard a message, and I'm not sure who the preacher was, but he talked about using your gifts. And I know that music for me isn't a gift from me, it's a gift from God. And this sermon about gifts was like, if you have them, why aren't you using them? I really took that sermon to heart, and I applied to be on the worship team, and now I'm on the team, and it's amazing. And I still struggled when I got on the team to feel connected sometimes to people, but I stayed consistent with the team and with praying and talking to God. And I don't know how, and I don't know what happened, but God took over. I went through hard stuff, but I feel like I needed to go through that to really find God on my own. When I finally found him again, that I knew that that's what God, it was all God, the whole time. And even when I was at the low, he never left me. I think that shows so much of who he is, and I want someone else to see that.